Welcome to this deep dive. We're here to unpack some really fascinating real-world stories and pull out insights you can actually use.
Mm,
Today, it's all about IELTS scores, specifically how people have made these, frankly, incredible jumps, think Band 5, all the way up to Band 8.
yeah, that's a huge leap. And it's not just about the number, is it? It shows a real significant improvement in English skills.
Exactly. And these journeys, well, they're packed with strategies, useful for anyone wanting to boost their language skills, really.
Absolutely. We've looked into quite a few of these transformations and, some really interesting patterns start to pop up.
Okay.
So the plan is we'll dig into one person's story first, get into the details there,
Right.
and then we'll kind of zoom out, look at the common threads we found across different stories.
Sounds good. And the mission for you listening, it's really to grab some practical ideas, maybe some motivation too, by seeing how others have really pushed their scores up.
Precisely. Understanding how they did it.
Okay, let's get started then. Our main story today. Let's call her Sarah.
Okay, Sarah.
She's a nurse from the Philippines, and her first go at the IELTS.
Yeah.
She got a band 5.5 in writing and 5.0 in speaking.
Right. So solid, but needed improvement for her goal.
Definitely. She needed a band 7 or higher. That was the requirement for a job she wanted in the UK.
Mm-hmm. Band 7. That's quite a jump. It means, having a good operational command of the language.
It's a significant gap, yeah. But what's really interesting is how Sarah tackled it. She didn't just, get discouraged.
Sounds like she was quite proactive. What did she do?
Well, first off, she started recording herself speaking English every single day.
Oh, interesting. That takes guts, listening back to yourself.
It really does. But it's powerful, right? Directly facing your own spoken English to pinpoint where you need to improve.
Yeah, absolutely. Was that it, or?
No, not just that. She also committed to writing full essays under timed conditions like the real test,
All right.
3 times a week, every week.
Wow, that's consistent effort. That discipline, especially the timing, that's so important for IELTS.
Totally. And for her speaking, she didn't stop at recording herself. She joined an online IELTS speaking club.
Ah, smart. Practicing with others, getting used to different accents, maybe getting some feedback too.
Presumably, yeah, it gives you that real-time practice. So she kept this up for about 4 months.
4 months of focused effort.
Okay. Then she took the test again. And the results, well, they were pretty amazing.
Let's hear it.
She scored 7.5 in speaking.
Wow, from a 5.0.
And 7.0 in writing, up from 5.5.
Fantastic.
Which brought her total band score to an 8.0.
Band 8. That's incredible progress in just 4 months.
It really is. And she had this key insight. She said, don't just study more, study smarter.
That old chestnut. But it's true, isn't it? It's not just about hours logged. It's how you use those hours.
Exactly. And her smarter way, well, for writing, she got really specific.
How so?
She started analyzing Band 9 sample essays, really breaking them down.
Okay, not just reading them.
Yeah.
Analyzing.
Right. She looked at how they were structured, the arguments. She looked at the tone they used, and crucially, the vocabulary choices that made them stand out.
Ah, so she was trying to understand why they were high scoring.
Yeah, and then she tried to mimic those things, the structure, the vocab, the flow, in her own practice essays.
That makes sense. Active imitation. It's a really effective way to internalize what good writing looks like at that level. You see it, you understand it, you try to reproduce it.
It helps you build those patterns into your own work. So Sarah's story is super insightful.
Definitely.
Which makes you wonder, are there common threads here? When people make these big jumps like Sarah did.
Yeah, absolutely. We looked at several cases, people moving up significantly, and 3 things kept coming up again and again.
Okay, what are they?
The first one is consistency. No real surprise there, maybe, but it's fundamental.
Right. Regular practice.
Exactly. Not just cramming now and then,
Mm.
but consistent, regular effort over time. Like learning an instrument or training for a sport,
Mm-hmm. Little and often beats infrequent marathon sessions.
Pretty much, yeah. Short, regular practice seems to be more effective for building that fluency and accuracy.
Okay, consistency. What's number 2?
Feedback. Actively seeking it out and actually using it.
Ah, so not just studying alone in a bubble.
Right. The people who improved the most, they got real corrections,
Yeah.
evaluations on their speaking, on their writing, from teachers, tutors, maybe even language partners.
Because it's hard to spot your own mistakes sometimes, isn't it?
Exactly. Self-assessment is useful, but getting that external perspective, it tells you specifically what to work on. It's invaluable.
Got it. Consistency, feedback. What's the third theme?
Mindset. how they approach the whole thing.
Okay.
They tended to see IELTS improvement less like memorizing facts for a history test
Right.
and more like developing a practical skill, something you train for, something you build through practice.
So thinking of it as skill development, not just rote learning.
Precisely. That shift from passive absorbing to actively building the skill seems really important for making big leaps.
That makes a lot of sense. We actually saw this with another person, Arjun from India.
Okay, Arjun, what was his story?
He was stuck, band 6 in Reading,
Mhm.
just couldn't seem to get past it no matter how much he studied.
The dreaded plateau. Very frustrating.
Totally. And the interesting thing with Arjun was it wasn't necessarily vocabulary or grammar holding him back in Reading.
Oh, what was it then?
It was his approach. He felt like he had to understand every single word in the passages.
The perfectionist trap. Read every word, understand every detail.
Exactly, which naturally slowed him right down. He'd get bogged down in tiny details and miss the main points or run out of time.
Yeah, I can see how that would happen.
Yeah.
Especially under pressure.
So his breakthrough came when he changed his strategy, fundamentally.
Oh.
Instead of deep diving into every sentence, he started training himself to scan. Scan for keywords related to the questions.
Right, focusing on finding the relevant information quickly,
Yeah.
not necessarily full comprehension of everything.
Exactly. Locating the answers efficiently.
And did it work?
Big time. He jumped to a band 8 in Reading.
Wow. Just from changing that one reading technique.
Seems like it was the key shift for him. Which really hammers home Sarah's point, doesn't it? Study smarter.
Yeah, it wasn't about reading more passages. It was about reading them differently with a strategy suited to the test.
Right. So for you listening now, maybe you're at a band 5 or 6 and you're aiming high towards that band 8. What are some concrete things you can actually do?
Okay, yeah, let's get practical. Based on these stories, we've got 3 key tips.
All right, tip 1.
Record yourself speaking regularly. Pick different IELTS topics.
We talked about Sarah doing this.
Exactly. But the crucial part is listening back critically.
What should you listen for?
Everything, really. Pronunciation, individual sounds, word stress, fluency. Are you hesitating too much? Is it choppy? Grammar, are you making repeated errors? And vocabulary, are you using a good range? Is it appropriate?
So self-diagnosis first.
Yes. Identifying your own weak spots is the essential first step. You can't fix what you don't know is broken, right?
Makes sense. Okay, second tip.
Get feedback from others. Professional feedback, if possible.
Like teachers or tutors.
Yeah, experienced IELTS folks who can give you detailed assessments, tell you why something isn't quite working and how to improve it.
Are there other options? Maybe tech-based?
Absolutely. There are AI tools now, like ELSA, which focuses specifically on pronunciation, or Grammarly for writing. It can catch errors and suggest improvements.
So use the resources available. Don't just rely on yourself.
Exactly. That external perspective is golden for spotting things you miss.
Right. Okay. And the third recommendation.
Wrote essays consistently. Aim for maybe 1 a day, covering different question types.
Daily writing practice.
But again, it's not just about the volume of writing. The key is learning from examples.
Like Sarah did with the Band 9 essays.
Precisely. Get your hands on model answers, band 7, 8, 9, and don't just read them, analyze them.
What should you look for when analyzing?
Why are they good? Look at the sophisticated vocabulary they use. The sentence structures, are they varied, complex, accurate? How do they build their arguments? Is it logical, coherent?
And then try to bring those elements into your own writing.
Yes. Consciously try to incorporate those higher level features. That's how you elevate your own style.
These are really practical steps. And it loops back to what we saw with Sarah and Arjun, doesn't it? That where you start, your initial score, it really doesn't lock you in. It doesn't define your potential.
Absolutely not. So many people who get those top scores, band 8 or even higher, they often started much lower down.
Yeah, it's important for you listening to remember that.
It really is. Improving language skills, it's a process. It takes time. And, it definitely requires persistence.
Sticking with it.
Yeah, and trying to give a positive outlet even when it feels slow. You have to commit to your study plan, be disciplined.
Even on the days you don't feel like it.
Especially then. And trust that the consistent effort, especially if you're using smart strategies like we've discussed, it will pay off. You will see improvement.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe take a second. Think about your own IELTS prep right now.
Yeah, reflect a little.
How could you bring some of these strategies in? Recording yourself? Speaking, maybe? Actively hunting down feedback? Or really digging into those high-scoring essays?
Looking honestly at what you're currently doing and being willing to try these proven techniques,
Yeah.
that could be the thing that really unlocks your progress.
It might just be the key to getting you closer to that score you're aiming for. Something to think about.